In theory, swipe dating might sound amazing. You can see hundreds of matches in just a few minutes. You don't have to message anyone until you know they're also interested in you, and random people you aren't interested in can't just send you messages. On the surface, this sounds incredible. However, what lies below the surface of a seemingly harmless format of dating is something to be concerned about. Here's where it gets interesting. There are 3 stages a user's brain goes through when using a swipe-based dating app. Stage 1, the binge intoxication phase. In simple terms, this is the stage where you first start using the app. You're excited because you're seeing a lot of potential matches. You start swiping, hoping for your first match, and then it happens. Ding! Congratulations, you've got a match. You get excited. What's going on in your brain when you get this match? Well, there's a release of hormones and neurotransmitters that elicit feelings of euphoria and social acceptance. Dopamine and serotonin, often referred to as the feel-good chemicals in the brain, fire off. These feel-good chemicals flood the reward pathways in your brain, and because the reward was a surprise and unexpected, the effect is much stronger. The surprise reward of a swipe match notification sends a dopamine rush that is so addictive that users will wait all day to receive that same notification. It also means that swiping on a dating app activates the same reward pathways as addictive drugs. This fact alone tells neuroscientists that the behavior has the potential to be dangerously addicting. Here's a quote from Dr. David Greenfield, assistant clinical professor of psychiatry at the University of Connecticut School of Medicine and the founder of the Center for Internet and Technology Addiction. You never know when someone will respond or who will respond, so you're compelled to actually open that email or that app to see what you've got. The anticipation of a potential prize also releases a flood of dopamine in our brains. In a 2019 research paper, researchers linked the effects of social media addiction to Tinder's super likes, one of their core features, and a feature now used on Upward, showing the potential risks of these types of behaviors. Once you get hooked on the unique ability of social media to quantify how much others love you via likes, retweets, super likes, and comments, you become obsessed with distinguishing and comparing your own position in the virtual hierarchy. This process of posting, receiving likes and comments, engaging in others' posts, and comparing your social media presence to others is so ubiquitous that you probably performed similar actions when you woke up this morning. While participation in social media might seem harmless, the process can be traced to incredibly negative neurocognitive effects consistent with addiction to a drug like nicotine or cocaine. How much swiping are people doing? According to recent research, the average person is swiping upwards of 20 hours per week. Are these people truly addicted? They are. Research shows that at least half of all users demonstrate compulsive swiping. And that's just the first stage. Then what happens? Stage 2, withdrawal. When our brains experience a consistent influx of these feel-good chemicals, they start to expect the pattern to continue. In response, they start to slow down processes to maintain a more balanced equilibrium. This works well as long as that continued influx of feel-good chemicals continues. Unfortunately, that's not what happens. In the case of our brains, this is where withdrawal starts. When you use swipe dating apps and you see a big surge of dopamine, or the feel-good chemicals, your body starts to limit the number of receptors that move that dopamine into action. It shuts the proverbial doors, which is fine when you're still getting that big influx of dopamine. But what happens when you stop swiping? Your body still thinks there are big surges coming in, but they're not. Additionally, the initial excitement of the app has worn off, and even when you do swipe, the levels of dopamine coming in are much lower. Research shows us this sudden drop of dopamine results in depression, anxiety, and feelings of hopelessness. How serious are these symptoms when it comes to online dating? Here are a few statistics to consider. 79% of adults say they have experienced emotional fatigue or burnout from dating apps. 1 in 3 say they have sought professional counseling or therapy as a result of using online dating apps. And nearly 90% of the dating apps mentioned as being used in the survey were swipe-style dating apps. Again, this is only stage 2 of the swipe dating process. Stage 3, doom scrolling. What does this withdrawal lead to? It leads to something known as doom scrolling. People begin obsessively and addictively swiping through matches to try and fill the void. Doom scrolling is by no means a new concept. We see it in social media, we saw it with breaking news during the pandemic, and now we see it with swipe dating apps. Social neurologists have found that doom scrolling can lead to depression and feelings of hopelessness, hence where it got its name. Additionally, the constant swiping and hoping for a match leads to a rise in cortisol, which is sometimes known as the stress hormone, responsible for regulating many important functions in your body. A rise in cortisol has been shown to delay the ability to recover from physiological stress. While you're swiping, your heart rate actually increases, your blood pressure goes up, and your body shifts into fight or flight mode, all while you're supposed to be having fun online or finding a partner. Remember, many of the most popular Christian dating apps like Upward, Arc, Christian Mingle, and many others use this kind of a matchmaking process. To be very clear, this is not meant to be an attack on online dating or to discourage anyone from using it. In fact, I love the way the church leverages technology to further its reach with things like social media, digital giving, outreach, and dating. But it's still important that we understand the potential blind spots so we can approach these things correctly.